Level up your English with Skyrocket English Class. Vocabulary to talk about scheduling and deadlines. Most people know the word deadline, which expresses the date of when something should be completed. But there are many more words to describe completion times, which will help you in your working life. Firstly, it's to set a deadline. This is when you agree on a deadline. For example, my boss set a deadline for the 10th of December. Or, why does your department always set such short deadlines? When you complete the task before or on the deadline day, the expression is to meet a deadline. In many languages, the translation of this is to respect a deadline. And you could say this in English, as in, we would understand what you mean. However, it is much more natural to say to meet a deadline. For example, the deadline was set for the end of the month and we just about met it. Or, we won't meet the deadline for the 23rd, so we'll have to renegotiate. To set a deadline and to meet a deadline. When speaking about timeframes, there are two useful prepositions. The first is by. By means the end point to finish a task. For example, you must finish this report by Friday. Or, can you send this to me by Monday? The second preposition is within. Within means inside of a time period. For example, I must send this document within 3 hours. Or, I can do this contract within 3 weeks. When to use by and when to use within is often a point of confusion, so here's a way to remember. Within is almost always plus a number. For example, I must send this document within 3 days, 4 weeks, or 5 months. And you can think of by like reaching a wall, as in, it's the final moment to do something. For example, I must call him by tomorrow, next Friday, or the 31st. By and within. Now let's talk about scheduling. Firstly, to schedule is a verb, which means to organize the time, but it's also an adjective, to be on schedule, which means a project is going to plan and won't be delayed. For example, at the moment, we are on schedule and should complete the work by the end of the month. Or, for once the building project was completed on schedule. Note, there are two pronunciations of this word. In the UK, we say schedule, but in the US, they say schedule. But either pronunciation is fine. If your project is going slower than predicted, we use the expression to be behind schedule. For example, the foundations of the building were more damaged than we thought, so we are behind schedule. Or, unfortunately, the project manager quit, which has put us behind schedule. If your project is going faster than expected, then the expression is to be ahead of schedule. For example, the new software speeded up the task, so we are ahead of schedule. Or, the renovation of the house was simpler than we thought, putting us ahead of schedule. Another way to say to be on schedule is to be on track, which means the project is going to plan and won't be delayed. For example, we are on track with the new app and it will be completed on time. To be on track is a limited phrase, however, because you cannot say to be behind track or to be ahead of track. To be on schedule, to be behind schedule, to be ahead of schedule, and to be on track. Next, let's talk about another essential word, to be due. To be due has two meanings. The first expresses the cause of something. For example, the match was cancelled due to the weather. The second, however, expresses an agreed date to finish a task. You'll often see this in project management software with the label due date. For example, this report is due on the 15th of July, or the assignment is due next week. If the deadline has passed and the task is now late, the expression is to be overdue. This expression is often used for late payments, deliveries, and general tasks. For example, the delivery is overdue. I expected it on Monday. When can you send it to me? Or, the payments for this service is overdue. Please contact our accounts team. To be due and to be overdue. Finally, let's talk about a super useful phrasal verb, to run out of. We use to run out of when a resource is low and must be renewed, such as to run out of time, money, or patience. For example, we couldn't complete the project because we ran out of money. Or, I'm running out of time to complete this task today. I'll have to do it tomorrow. When something is finished, we often use the expression to be out of. Of course, you can say to be finished, but to be out of is a conversational way to express this idea, and we use it all the time. For example, to be out of stock for shopping, to be out of time for time, to be out of battery with your phone or laptop, to be out of petrol in your car, or to be out of food in your domestic life. For example, we are out of time with this meeting and we'll have to come back to this issue tomorrow. Or, can you go to the supermarket for me? I'm completely out of milk. To run out of something and to be out of something. To practice this vocabulary set, why not visit us at skyrocketenglishclass.com, where you'll find the flashcard and activity set accompanying this video. Or, for hundreds of business and everyday expressions, phrasal verbs and vocabulary to help you speak naturally, why not investigate our book, Next Level English 50 Lessons to Improve Your English, on Amazon. Back to the video. Part 2. Vocabulary in context. Listen and read about this real-life person to discover how these phrases are used in context. The story of Douglas Adams. Do you sometimes struggle to meet your deadlines? Do you, despite all your good intentions, find it difficult to focus on a task? Well, this is nothing compared to the writer Douglas Adams. Science fiction fans know him as the writer of the cult book series The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But what they might not know is that he was terrible with deadlines and never completed his work within the agreed time period. I like deadlines, he once said in an interview. I like the whooshing sound they make as they fly by. And he wasn't exaggerating. On some projects, Adams reportedly only started writing the book after it was due. Adams was often so behind schedule with his work, his editors took desperate measures. For example, when struggling to write one of his final books, So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, his editor got so frustrated with his lack of progress that he locked him in a hotel suite for 3 weeks to ensure that he finished it. When Adams ran out of food, the editor sent him more, but forbid him to leave the room. So, if you're a procrastinator, fear not, you're in good company. And just because you don't finish your tasks by the deadline doesn't mean you can't achieve remarkable things. If you enjoyed this video, check out the others in the series. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.